Good evening, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my Sunday share. I'm going to give it a few more seconds for everyone to join me tonight. So tonight is all about techniques. I'm going to be showing you a few ways to color the embossing from the Power of Hope bundle. I'm using most of the stamps in this set tonight that you can earn for free during celebration, which also includes our embossing folder, and I'll show you what that looks like. Let me give you the supplies I'm using for card number 1. I'm actually making 2 cards tonight. And if you guys see any shadows, I apologize. Dave and I are traveling today, and I'm actually sitting in the room, and my counter is actually the size you see here. That's all I have to work with. And it looks like some of the shadows are going to come through, so I'm sorry about that. Ink colors I'm using is Call Me Clover and Soft Suede. And I'm also using the classic label punch. And let me show you the layers to my cardstock. Mint Macaron 11 by 4 1/4. And I did not bring my trimmer with me. It's supposed to be scored at 5 1/2, but it looks like I forgot. So I'm just going to go ahead and carefully fold this and bring my bone folder down. So if you're doing this, score at 5 1/2. I've already gone ahead, because I'm not at home, I've already gone ahead and embossed the panels. So let me show you what this embossing folder looks like. I hope you guys can see that. And you can actually use both sides, and you'll see it a lot better once you see what I'm going to do with it. I'm using the Stitched Nested Labels dies. This one is Call Me Clover. Whisper White is a size smaller. And then I have a scrap of Mint Macaron 1/2 inch wide for the sentiment. So tonight what I'm showing you is how to color the embossing. So this is sample number 1. Let me bring it up closer so you can see how I colored. You can see the embossing on the background here. And then I'm also going to do a little bit of stamping. So you guys would laugh. There's a chair sitting right over here with all of my supplies. So you're going to see me go back and forth grabbing stuff only because I'm limited. So the first thing I'm going to do, now the side that I am using for the embossing folder on this one is the one, let me see better here. All of these lines that you see that are darker, the lines are facing upwards, so the bumps are upwards. I've got a sponge for both of my ink colors. I'm going to start out with the Call Me Clover. Good evening, everyone. I can see you all coming on. So I'm just going to add color, and look how quickly that picks up the color. And you can see that it's darker on the raised bumps. So I'm just going to add some of the Call Me Clover here and there. I'm not even pressing hard as I do this. So there's color number 1. How quick is that? Now we're going to do Soft Suede. And I am going to overlap some of the colors. Okay, so you can see here where I've overlapped both colors. It kind of creates a third color. I'm just going to fill in the rest of this cardstock layer with the Soft Suede. And you could actually use more than one color to do this, or you can use just the one color. Okay, let me make some room here. Okay, so there's my sponged panel. So this is a great way to add color to the embossing bumps. Now let's go ahead and glue that in place. It's going to be kind of weird when I switch over to project number 2, so I'm going to have to remove everything in front of me and then bring that in. So I'm going to glue this in place, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the Call Me Clover. Now this one, I believe, I don't have my dies with me. I think this is size number 2. It actually measures from tip to tip about 4 3/8 inches if you want to use the same size. I'm going to add a lot of snail only because I'm gluing on top of embossing. So there's my first one. Now we're going to go ahead and do the stamped layer. I'm going to do soft suede. And I'm hoping that the shadows are not too bad. Now I want to add just a little bit of color right in here, so I'm just going to use the ink lines just below the little roof type thingies up top, and then I'm going to grab the ink lines on the bottom to make it look like there's a little bit of dirt. And that's all the shadowing I'm going to do on that. Very easy. And then next I'm going to grab the Call Me Clover Stampin' Write marker. I'm just going to lightly tap the end to color that in, and then quickly, so that I don't smudge the soft suede ink, I'm doing strokes vertically just to color that in. And that's it. Quick. Now this one we're going to glue in place with Stamping Dimensionals. So you can see that the backgrounds to my card are totally different to each other, only because, oops, I still need that one. Only because depending on where you start with your coloring, this one seems to have more soft suede and this one seems to have more of the Call Me Clover. So now I'm just going to go ahead and glue this layer in place. That's going to go right here. Next is the sentiment. I actually brought two pieces in case I end up getting it on there crooked, because I am not at home. Let's see how good I can do this. Nope. Let's try again. See, that's why I brought two pieces. And I do not have a bright light to show me where I am stamping. Now I'm going to bring in the tailored tag punch. Instead of doing my banner this way, I'm actually going to go in on this side and create a banner that looks like that. Just a little bit different than what I usually do. And I'm also going to glue this with dimensionals. Nancy is asking me where I am at tonight. I'm actually near the cancer center that we go for Dave's doctor's appointments. We have a 7 a.m. appointment tomorrow morning, so we thought we'd spend the night so we wouldn't have to get up so early to travel, because we travel 2 hours to get to Dave's appointments. Now I'm using the champagne rhinestone jewels. I'm going to go ahead and add a cluster of 3 at the bottom. And I ran out of the bigger ones, so I'm just going to add 3 of the smaller ones at the top. Okay, so there's card number 1. See how cute that is with the sponged background? So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to card number 2. So just give me a few seconds to switch everything out. I got some really pretty colors for the next one. Let's see if I can add everything up here. Now on this one I'm using the Delightful Tag Topper Punch. I'm also adding this die shape for one of the layers. The die shape actually comes from the Stitch So Sweetly dies. So I've already gone ahead and cut that one ahead of time. And the ink colors are Poppy Parade and Purple Posy. Isn't that a strange color combination? But you'll see how pretty it looks together. And then I've got the Poppy Parade textured weave ribbon. Let me see what else I've got. I've got the red rhinestone jewels. And then again, I forgot to score ahead of time. No, this one is scored actually. I see the score line. So again, we have 11 by 4 1/4 scored at 5 1/2. And I just know you're going to love the color combination on this one. Now, again, I've gone ahead and embossed the panel already with the Power of Hope embossing folder. This time, I don't want the lined bumps upwards. I want the big chunky areas upwards, and you'll see what I mean once I start going. Next is a piece of purple posy. Oh, and this card base is purple posy. I forgot to mention that. This one measures 4 1/4 by 2 inches. And all I'm going to do is use the delightful tag topper punch. Slide that in there. And I'm going to cut the end piece. You can see how that looks. And let me go ahead and open up my ink pads, and I'm going to show you the card. And I promise you're going to love this color combination. Okay, you ready to see this one? This is card number 2. Aren't those colors pretty together? So now on card number 1, we did some sponging. On this one, we're going to go direct to paper with the ink pads. So I'm going to take my ink pad, turn it upside down, and just lightly rub that across. I'm going to do most of it with purple posy, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the Poppy Parade on top of that. So now all I'm going to do is add just a little bit of color here and there. I'm not going to do the whole thing like I did on the purple posy. And look how quick that was. See how quick and easy? And again, you could do this with one color or both. So let me go ahead and glue that to the card base. So that's called direct to paper when you're doing it with the ink pad. Now let's go ahead and glue this in place. My little tag, I'm going to go ahead and add a ribbon through it. And I'm just going to tie a knot. And I'm going to bring my scissors in and just cut that at an angle. And I think the angle is opposite to the one on my card, but that's okay. And then all I'm going to do with this is go ahead and glue that to my card front using dimensionals. Oh, I have somebody asking about the champagne rhinestone jewels. Those are on back order, I believe, until March 30th. They've been very popular. Now I'm going to add this about 1/2 inch from the left edge, even at the top. So there's my little upside down tag. Now I'm going to bring in an aqua painter and my little lady stamp image. I'm going to go ahead and stamp her right on the fancy label. And again, I'm going to be using the ink lines just to add a little bit of color. I don't want to add a lot. That's it on the coloring. Next is the purple posy to do the sentiment. And I'm going to go ahead and glue just half of this with snail. And then I'm going to add dimensionals on the other end because this is already popped, so you need to pop that side also. So this is going to go right on the tag. And then lastly, I'm going to use my paper piercer and add some red rhinestone jewels, and I'm actually going to frame my fancy label here. Just gonna go, so that's a lot of jewels, but look how much we get on a package. And I know I'm always teasing you guys about using your stuff, using your products. You don't want them sitting on a shelf just waiting for a special occasion. You want to use your stuff. Let's see, this one only has 2. So I'm going to keep that the way it is right there. So there's card number 2. Let me bring card number 1 back in. So there's card number 1. So again, if you're tuning in late, card number 1 was sponging the ink on the embossing, and card number 2 was with the ink pad direct to paper. And then here's the stamp set in the embossing folder that I used today. And you can earn these for free with a $100 order during celebration. You get both items as a bundle. So I hope you enjoyed my cards for tonight, and I'll pick a name when I get back home from traveling. And I hope you enjoyed my cards. Have a good night, everyone.